It is unfortunate to see how we're so reliant on external validation, especially nowadays. Social media is just everywhere. More specifically, for artists, this is where we share our work, and we always seek for likes and views because the more you get, the more you feel good and amazing. Essentially, in your head, you're like, wow, I'm finally doing something right, because we usually equate success to fame and recognition. I don't have any idea how to escape this madness in social media, and also because it just amplifies this notion so much. Another thing is that social media is quite dystopian. I'm not really sure how to explain this, but seeing something in person versus seeing something on the screen is so different. There's a lot of nuance that gets lost. As artists, it doesn't really matter how many times we tell ourselves that getting praised for our work shouldn't matter as much. Instead, we should just be focusing on enjoying this thing that we genuinely love to do. But let's be real. When we receive any sort of compliment or criticism, it just has a big effect on how we think of ourselves. And it's quite difficult to separate ourselves from our art because we've put so much of us into it. But if you really think about it, your art doesn't fully define you. You know, you spend hours and hours creating your artwork, and then someone just suddenly comes and questions your identity as an artist. It's gut-wrenching. I remember back in university during our critiques, where we had to present our artwork in front of everyone. We explain our thoughts and objectives, essentially why we made this artwork. You know, in that moment, you're so vulnerable, and everyone just starts throwing different comments about your work. It could be good, it could be bad. But after that nerve-wracking 15 minutes or so of standing beside your artwork, standing in front of your fellow classmates, your professors, and most of the time they bring in other professors, you just realize how each comment from each person in that room just shows how subjective art really is. Every single opinion depends on someone's preference. It's wild because even if we come to this realization, the moment we get one negative comment about our artwork, it's just inevitable for us to go on a downward spiral. This is problematic because we may risk losing our authentic selves. You know, we just have all these comments in the back of our minds, and next thing you know, we're making art that doesn't even represent who we are. Now we've let other people infiltrate our creative minds. We start to create art to solely please others, just to get a compliment or seek that validation. We seek this validation because, to put it simply, it just makes us feel good. The desire for validation is natural. It's human to want to feel appreciated and understood. Good compliments make it sound like we're doing something right or even amazing, but let's frame it in another way. Good compliment just means that someone connected with your work. It's easy to fall into this thinking that these positive remarks validate our worth as artists, so we end up going into this cycle of, hey, I should just make something that caters towards a lot of people so I could get more compliments. This is dangerous because you risk losing your own emotions and thoughts and experiences. Because now you're just focusing on what's common. Where's the nuance? Where's your experience as an individual? Are you able to translate that into your art? Just because you're interested in a topic that seems unfamiliar doesn't mean that it's actually unfamiliar or uncommon. More often than not, it's just a topic that hasn't been talked about as much. And you have a power to bring that into light. You have a power to start a conversation about it. Lack of authenticity leads to lack of inspiration. Well, let's think about it. What is inspiration? What does that mean? What is it? Inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do something creative, which often comes from your personal experiences, thoughts, and emotions. So let's say an artist's authenticity is now compromised. That means that the source of inspiration is now suppressed. Your personal experience that once fueled your creativity is now overshadowed by the pressure to conform. And as a result, your art becomes dull. You lose any sort of connection with your art because you didn't even make something that speaks to you. That's why you end up hating what you created. It's difficult to be in this situation. I remember a period of time when I just created random artworks in order to sell them. I was mainly driven by the desire to make money from them. It didn't feel good. I was like a puppet on a string. It felt like I was just a machine being told what to do. Lack of authenticity creates a void within us. So it becomes challenging to find inspiration in everyday life because this void is just like a black hole that consumes our creativity and passion. We all have our own creative instinct. This is bottomless, and you'll never run out of inspiration as long as you're in touch with yourself. When you embrace your true self, your work resonates on a deeper level, sparking inspiration within you and also in others. Why go against the flow, right? After all, art is all about expressing who we really are. Art is subjective, and what resonates with one person may not with another. And this means that not every single piece of art that we make will receive the recognition or love we hope for. And that is okay. When we start hating what we create, it sucks motivation out of us, and it discourages us to continue exploring, experimenting, and creating art. Instead of letting external validation dictate our self-worth, we need to remind ourselves of our purpose as creators. Take criticism, and especially negative and condescending criticism, with a grain of salt, because they don't mean well all the time. They're not supposed to dictate what you should do next, and they are merely suggestions. You have to look out for yourself. You're the artist. You know who you are. You know what you want to do. You should take the lead. You have to. Wherever you want to go, I'm pretty sure along the way you'll find people that will resonate with you and your artworks. So keep going. Keep creating, and you'll eventually stumble upon those people, slowly but surely. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.